The sterile white walls of the room were the first thing he saw when his eyes fluttered open. A soft hum filled the air, and a gentle light flickered above. It was a comforting glow, not harsh like the ones from the ships he was used to, but a softer, more natural light that seemed to caress his senses rather than overwhelm them. His head throbbed slightly, as though it was wrapped in cotton wool. The crash, his mind was clouded with the memory of his last moments before everything went dark. He had been piloting the ship, a routine checkup mission on a new planet, but something went terribly wrong. His control panel had flashed red, alarms blared, and before he could understand what was happening, everything had spiraled out of control. He tried to sit up, but his body felt heavy, sluggish. His limbs didn't quite obey, and a wave of dizziness washed over him. He clenched his eyes shut and steadied himself, fighting the urge to let the darkness take over again. "Easy now," a voice said gently. The voice was soft and melodic, almost soothing like a lullaby, and it brought a strange sense of comfort. The protagonist turned his head slowly, focusing his vision on the source of the voice. There, standing beside him, was a figure. A woman, or at least a form of one, though her features were unlike anything he had seen before. She was slender, with pale, translucent skin that shimmered faintly under the light, and her eyes, large and deep, seemed to hold a quiet wisdom, as if she had lived through eons of time. She was dressed in a sleek, silver suit that clung to her body in the most unusual way, rippling with an energy that seemed to vibrate the very air around her. Her hair, long and flowing, almost appeared to float around her, as though gravity held no claim over it. He blinked, unsure if his mind was playing tricks on him. "Who?" he started to ask, but his voice came out hoarse, barely a whisper. The alien nurse smiled softly, reaching for a small device that hovered just above her palm. It emitted a low whir as it extended and began to hum over his body. He felt a slight tingling sensation, and the pain in his head began to dull. "Rest, human," she said, her voice calm. "You're safe now. Your injuries were severe, but you're healing." He couldn't make sense of the situation. He was alive, yes, but everything else felt wrong. Where was he? How was he alive? The last thing he remembered was the crash. The ship spiraling down, the ground rushing toward him. It hadn't seemed like there was any hope. "Where am I?" he asked, his voice a little stronger this time. "You're in my care," she replied, her tone never changing. "You've been unconscious for several days. The crash was quite an event. I had to work quickly to stabilize you." His mind raced as he tried to recall any details about the crash, but it all felt distant, hazy, like the pieces of a puzzle scattered too far apart to fit together. The alien nurse reached over to a small table next to the bed and retrieved a small vial filled with a swirling liquid. She held it up to the light, watching the liquid shift with an almost hypnotic motion. She turned back to him, her expression thoughtful. "You are in a facility on my planet," she continued, her eyes scanning his face. "This is a healing center designed to treat the most severe of injuries. The planet is far from Earth, though not unreachable." His heart skipped a beat. "Earth?" he murmured, his mind still foggy. "How did I get here? What happened to my crew?" The nurse's eyes softened and she shook her head gently. "I'm afraid I don't know what became of your crew. I only found you, the others. They were gone by the time I arrived." The words hit him like a wave crashing onto a rocky shore. His crew, his friends, the people he had trusted with his life. Gone? How? Why? 1,000 questions swirled in his mind, but no answers came. Only silence. "Don't worry," she said, sensing his turmoil. "You'll have time to process all of this. For now, focus on your recovery. That's the most important thing." The protagonist nodded slowly, though his mind was far from calm. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more going on here. How had she found him? How was she able to heal him so quickly? And why did she look at him like that, like she knew more about him than she should? He looked up at her again, meeting her gaze. "Who are you?" For the briefest moment, he thought he saw something flicker behind her eyes, a flash of something ancient, something almost knowing, but it passed so quickly that he doubted it had even happened. "I am a healer," she said simply. "My people are skilled in the art of restoration. We tend to those who are lost, who are broken. I found you and brought you here. A healer. Her species must have been far more advanced than his. Their technology, their knowledge, it was beyond anything Earth had ever come close to. How did you find me?" he asked, still grappling with his confusion. "Your signal was weak but still sent out. We tracked distress signals. When I found yours, I followed it to your location. By the time I arrived, the crash had already happened. I was able to salvage what remained and stabilize you." The idea that someone had been tracking distress signals from an alien world made his head spin. How long had he been unconscious? And how had this alien healer known how to help him? The thought seemed both miraculous and terrifying at once. "You spoke in your sleep," she continued, her voice gentle. "It was strange. You said many things, words I didn't understand, but the tone was clear. You were troubled, restless." The protagonist blinked, trying to recall anything he might have said, but the fog in his mind was thick, and nothing came to the surface. He couldn't even remember the dreams he must have had during the endless days of unconsciousness. "What did I say?" he asked, his curiosity piqued. "You mentioned Earth," she replied, her tone thoughtful. "You spoke of your people, your family, and you said, 'I have to save them.'" The words struck him like a thunderbolt. Save them from what? What was he trying to save? His family, his crew. His mind raced, but the memories remained elusive. It was as though something was blocking him from remembering the truth. I don't remember," he said softly, frustration creeping into his voice. "What does it mean? What's happening to me?" The nurse gave him a reassuring smile, her eyes warm. "It's a process, healing not just of the body but of the mind. You will recall what you need to in time." But time? How much time did he have? He had no idea where he was, no idea what had happened to the rest of his crew, and no idea how he had ended up in this strange place. And yet, a part of him sensed that this alien nurse, this healer, knew far more than she was letting on. As the nurse moved away to check on some of the medical equipment beside him, the protagonist closed his eyes. He was alive, but he wasn't whole. The pieces of his memory were scattered, like leaves in the wind, and he had no way of knowing when, or if, they would ever come together again. The days passed slowly, but the protagonist found himself adjusting to his new reality. The alien facility was nothing like anything he had ever encountered. Its clean, organized environment, with smooth metallic surfaces and soft, ambient lights, created an atmosphere of calm that seemed almost unnatural to him. There was a strange beauty to the place, yet it felt like he had stepped into another world entirely. Each day, the nurse, whose name he had yet to learn, visited him. She checked his vitals, tended to his wounds, and brought him food. She never spoke much, but her presence was reassuring. Her calm demeanor had a way of putting him at ease, though a part of him still felt uneasy. He couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to her than met the eye, something she was keeping from him. One morning, as he sat up in his bed, gazing out of the window at the alien landscape, he saw the nurse enter his room. She moved with a grace that seemed beyond natural, her translucent skin glowing softly in the dim light. He had become accustomed to her presence, but today there was something different. There was a shift in the air, an unspoken tension that he couldn't place. "How are you feeling today?" she asked, her voice as soothing as always. But there was a new softness to her tone, as if she were waiting for something. The protagonist rubbed his eyes, trying to shake the lingering sleepiness from his mind. He felt better than he had in days. His body was healing quickly, but his mind. His mind still felt foggy, as if pieces of the puzzle were missing. He looked at her and nodded. "I'm better," he said, his voice sounding a little stronger, "but I still don't remember everything. There's a lot that's missing." The nurse nodded, her eyes soft with understanding. "The mind is a delicate thing," she said. "It needs time to heal just like the body. You are not just injured physically, but emotionally as well. There are wounds in the mind that take time to repair." She stepped closer to him, her movements fluid and deliberate. He felt a strange pull in her presence, like a magnetic force that drew him in. Her gaze was steady, and for the first time he noticed the deep intelligence in her eyes, something ancient and wise that made him feel small in comparison. He shifted uncomfortably. "I keep thinking about Earth," he admitted. "About my crew, my family, I don't know why. But something feels wrong, like I'm supposed to remember something, something important." The nurse sat down beside him, her cool presence grounding him. She didn't answer immediately, choosing instead to let the silence hang between them for a moment. Her fingers gently traced the edge of the bed's frame as if lost in thought. Finally, she spoke. "Sometimes when we lose something, or someone, we try to hold on to it in our minds. We relive the past, searching for meaning in it. You're searching for something, but it's not just a memory you're trying to find, is it?" He turned to face her, confused by her words. "What do you mean?" Her gaze met his, and for a moment it felt like she was looking straight into his soul. "You're searching for a purpose, a reason for all that has happened. You want to understand why you survived when others didn't. You want to know why you were spared." He felt a chill run down his spine. She was right. That was exactly what he was feeling. But how did she know? He hadn't said it aloud. He hadn't even fully understood it himself until she put it into words. I, I don't know what I'm supposed to do," he admitted. "I feel lost. My crew is gone. I can't even remember the crash clearly. How am I supposed to move on from that?" The nurse remained silent for a moment, her eyes distant, as if contemplating something deep within herself. Then she finally spoke, her voice gentle but firm. "Sometimes the universe chooses individuals for certain tasks. Not everyone gets to choose their role in life, but some are given a mission they must fulfill. You are one of those individuals. The crash was not an accident, and your survival was not by chance." He looked at her, trying to make sense of her words. "What do you mean?" "What mission?" The nurse's gaze seemed to harden, and she stood up, walking toward the small control panel on the wall. With a few quick gestures, she activated a screen. The screen flickered to life, revealing a map of the stars with lines connecting various points in space. He recognized none of the names, but it was clear that the map was showing a vast network of planets and systems. "This is where you are," the nurse said, pointing to a bright blue planet. "This is my world. It is far from Earth, but it is connected to it in ways you do not yet understand." The protagonist stared at the map, trying to wrap his mind around the vastness of it. How is this all connected?" She paused before answering. "Your people, your Earth, are in danger. The crash, your survival, it was all a part of something much bigger than you realize. A threat is coming, a threat that could destroy everything you've known." His heart skipped a beat. "A threat? What kind of threat?" The nurse's expression grew more serious. "An ancient enemy, one that has been watching humanity for generations. They've waited for the right moment, and now that moment is approaching. They will come for Earth, and they will not stop until it is no more." The words hung in the air like a cloud of impending doom. The protagonist could hardly believe what he was hearing. An enemy, an ancient one, coming to destroy Earth. How was that possible? He had never heard of such a thing. He looked at the nurse, searching her face for any sign of uncertainty, but there was none. "Why me?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Why was I chosen for this?" The nurse's gaze softened, and she placed a hand gently on his shoulder. "Because, despite your doubts, you have something the others do not. You have the strength to fight. You have the will to protect what matters most. You are not here by accident. You were brought here to prepare for the coming battle." The words hit him hard. His mind reeled with the implications. Earth was in danger, and somehow he was supposed to stop it. But how? He had no weapons, no training, no idea what this enemy was or how to fight them. He was just one man, alone on an alien world. "How can I fight?" he asked, frustration building in his chest. "I don't even know where to begin." The nurse gave him a reassuring smile, her eyes kind. "You don't have to do this alone. You will be trained. You will learn. But first, you need to understand what you are fighting for. You need to remember who you are and what it is you are trying to protect." Her words lingered in his mind as she turned away to leave. "You'll be ready when the time comes. Just trust in yourself and in what lies ahead." As the door closed behind her, the protagonist sat in silence, the weight of her words sinking in. Earth was in danger, and it was up to him to stop it. He didn't know how he could possibly be ready for such a task, but deep down, a part of him knew that he couldn't turn away. His survival had not been a coincidence. It had been a call to action. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time since the crash, he felt a glimmer of purpose. There was something he had to do, and he would do whatever it took to protect what was left of humanity.